This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch and Tim Dahl, episode number 125.
Yes, well, we're both in Los Angeles. We played a show on Sunday. I did a solo show last night with Weezer Walter, did a duo, and we're just enjoying ourselves. Anyhow, Lydia, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm picking up after my little small rest in LA after my 6 weeks in Europe, our grand show in San Francisco with Oxbow and Victims Family at the Great American Music Hall, which was fantastic.
Yes, it was.
Followed by the shit show that was the LA show.
Well, we played well. We played well.
We did. I'm not even going to go into the details, but whatever. And then basically just binge watched Murder on the Bayou. I do recommend it. It was absolutely horrific on Showtime. And just chilling like a villain before I depart. So, and then I'm going into pre-holiday lockdown and luxuriating in my own presence.
Yes, well, I'll be seeing you. I have to go to Massachusetts first, but I'll see you there. It'll give me an opportunity to wear that lambskin coat I got last year. As long as you don't
bring the lambskin coat, do not appear in that heinous Christmas sweater. I can't stand.
Well, it's not a Christmas sweater; it's a Norwegian sweater.
It doesn't matter. I don't like it, but that's
you don't like Norwegian sweater.
I just don't like that one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can wear whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I don't have to.
I know you don't.
I don't want to, but anyway.
All right.
I love looking at you, Timmy. What can I say? So I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm looking forward to actually just chilling out for a while. So today, actually, this week, The War Is Never Over goes up in Criterion.
I saw that post. I think it might already be up,
it's going to be up already by the time this goes out. So that's grand. And, the winning of the jury prize in Barcelona, and also the fact that it's up for nomination. It's not going to win. The other 4 music videos, The Velvet Underground, Sparks.
It's going to be and Summer of Soul. Summer of Soul's probably going to win. Even though it's not as good as your documentary.
I know what is, but I can't even believe it was suggested. So whatever.
Well, Summer of Soul did make John Waters. He has that annual top 10. His favorite movies of the year. John Waters, he posted at the end of this year his top 10. He liked Summer of Soul. He also did a Bruce LaBruce movie that he posted that came out this year.
We've been trying to get Bruce LaBruce on this, but scheduling difficulties. But we'll get there.
There's also another one of someone that's in your world that he posted that made a movie, but he didn't post. I don't think he knows about Beck B's
movie. I don't send out for free. He can go watch it on Criterion.
No, but I don't even know if he knows it exists. We should tell him.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyhow, well, but it's been good for you this year so far, considering this 2021. You had this good tour and things.
Hey, I'm enjoying myself as usual. My ultimate.
Yes, you always do. You always enjoy yourself. Well, I don't know if this guy enjoyed it. I'm doing a little segue here. I don't know if this guy enjoyed himself, but I think he enjoyed himself while he was alive. I don't think his ending was so enjoyable. Thomas Well, I don't know if anyone knows, amongst the three, everyone knows who this is. He's like a talent show, reality show star. He was on American Idol, X Factor. The Winner Is, I don't know what that is. The Voice.
I doubt if anybody listening will, but we can't wait to hear about his demise.
Well, he does, people think he's got the voice of an angel. He's just one of these kind of like, you don't want to sound too condescending, but he's like a working class blob, one of these guys. And
the voice of the devil, and especially the devil's tongue.
Fair enough. Well, he went, he's just a good, earnest, hardworking American who can sing like whoever, karaoke star kind. He made it to all these shows. He's basically like a Republican working class guy that
I prefer Carrie Croaky. When I take to the stage, it's Carrie Croaky.
Well, he did have his Carrie Croaky experience at his factory job when suddenly like the conveyor belt hooked onto his belt or something and just brought him into some like insane factory. Oh yeah, he got minced meat. Oh yeah.
What kind of conveyor belt?
It doesn't matter what the fuck you're making. Those things when they're out off to the races, they're just moving.
Every time I hear the word conveyor belt, I just think of like a wild orgy. I don't even know why. I mean, I'm just going to cancel my own thoughts because I'm already I'm already too hot under the collar after talking.
I mean, Thomas Well was so successful with the ratings that they just every talent show, reality show was fighting for this guy. And yet, this is real telling about their shows. You can be a celebrity on these things. Clearly, you're not making money because he's going back to his factory job. They're just exploiting someone through their desperation, and then the machine ate him. It was real. That was probably his greatest performance.
Well, I'm just flummoxed at that concept, but we all have things to fear in this day and age. Of course, I have fear nothing, nor no man, monster, nor machine. But supposedly NASA said there is a quite giant-sized asteroid heading towards the Earth's orbit this week.
Oh, well.
As well as some kind of eclipse on Friday. All I know is the past few days, there's been a lot of technical difficulties for a lot of people. I'm just going to blame it on the atmospheric conditions that we're all suffering under. And of course, the new COVID. I thought I had escaped the claws and clutches of danger, which I did after being exposed to thousands of breathing heathens in Europe, and coming back, as always, negative since 77.
Well, there he goes, negative since 77. The thing is, until there's a real, honest herd immunity, like you can kind of start tipping at 70%, but you need like 90%. But synthetically, you're just getting it. Until that happens. It seems like we're gonna have to do that naturally, because just 54% of Americans will take this shit. So we're gonna statistically, I hate to say it, folks out there,
it's gonna go
vaccinated, you're not gonna die. You're not gonna die from it. We're just gonna statistically, we're all gonna get it, because motherfucker, that's that. That at some point, I get it. That's
how about
it.
the acronym? The Q freaks are saying that the new virus, the acronym, it's actually no crimo, and they're trying to say that the British call Christmas crimo, and it means no Christmas. It makes no sense. But then we still got half a dozen of them hanging out in Dallas waiting for the reincarnation of Jesus.
Oh yes.
Whatever.
Well, speaking of the South, they're doing FedEx is doing a big investigation.
Oh, the
whatever.
Dump.
You heard about this? Did you hear about this?
Major dump in Alabama?
No. Well, Alabama and Mississippi are always fighting 49 and 50 for the poorest, least educated states. Unfortunately, it's too bad.
Tell me about your FedEx story, and I'll tell you about mine.
They found 400 packages. Did you hear about this?
Where was that? Georgia, Alabama? I thought it was Alabama.
I thought it was Alabama. Maybe it was Georgia, in some ravine. Just like.
But the guy did it 6 times. Then they found.
I don't know if we're talking about the same. I don't know if we're talking about the same story, but they found 400 packages not open, not delivered, just in this ravine, and they're infested. They're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, no, it's the same story, because they found a huge ravine dump of FedEx packages, and then they found the guy who dumped, and then they said he'd done it about 6 times.
Oh yeah, he's like the serial dumper. He's a serial dumper. Yeah, but so what's going on? Like
serial Trumpers and serial dumpers, and basically, to me, they're both full of shit.
So is FedEx outsourcing to like just people like, I got this job, and he's like signing up for all of them? He's dumping them in a ravine.
Tracking just doesn't go far right now.
Oh my God.
So 101 ways to die. Then we had another schoolyard shooting this week. Which is just
that kid's insane. It happens all the time. Well, that's not as dynamic as this. Nathan Valencia, frat boy. What school is this? I forgot to write that down, but I have a lot of animal stories. So if you notice, I have a pretty high frequency. There's a high frequency of frat boy stories. I just like to love these stories where they get destroyed, or it's like physical comedy. So this frat party was hosted. It was a fundraiser for I don't know what, their frat. I don't fucking know, but they had this thing fight night. They had this thing fight night where in like their little man cave basement they made a boxing ring. And
why wasn't I invited?
Yeah, they had this fight night. Everyone's getting drunk, and there's like so and so is gonna fight so and so at midnight. They're all laughing. It's clever, and people entered to watch Nathan Valencia, one of the frat boys, play or fight.
I refer to him as Nathan V.
Quote from an anonymous fraternity brother, quote, "The moment we walked in, things didn't seem right. Something was off. And basically people are like, wasted. I think this Nathan Valencia was just like seeing double before he was even hit. And then they ring the bell, and
one punch.
The other frat brother just no. The other frat brother just does this endless machine gun for the uncomfortably long duration, just clocking this guy in the face, blow after blow after blow after blow after blow after blow, and everyone's like cheering. They're all drunk, ha ha ha, and until he died. I mean, yeah. I mean, that fundraiser money is better be directed to good lawyers at this point. I mean,
this is why I'm so thankful for Eugene Robinson of Oxbow showing me the ultimate death move when we were grappling in San Francisco, which he's the only man who seems brave enough to grapple with me at this point, which I highly recommend. He showed me a move which is called, like, I may be paraphrasing, the snatch and grab, where you go low, spread a man's legs, grab the scrotum, and then you roll and they come tumbling after you. End of fight. You don't even have to throw a blow. But while you're down there, you might want to blow. I'm just so they can go out.
Oh my God. All right, well, I'm gonna tie it up with an animal story, unless you have another story you want to say.
So far, everything's been about fucking animals. Go ahead.
Fair enough. Well, the Surf Dog Festival in Brazil happened this past week.
Another party I wasn't invited to.
Yeah,
I don't surf and I don't have a dog.
They're surfing dogs now. It's not just I wish it was just solo dogs surfing. They're with their trainers, but they both get on the surfboard together, and that's and the thing is, like, it stays on it, and the dog Parafina was the new crown champion of the
what breed?
Black Lab, of course. Those are water dogs. Exactly. Have you ever opened up the spacing of a Black Lab's paws?
Tim Dahl, that is one thing I've yet to do.
Yeah, well, they're webbed. They've mutated. They're bred to be sea dogs. Oh yeah. They go after like ducks after you shoot them and all that shit. I mean, they're all this shit was bred to do a task. Yes, cats aren't bred to do any tasks. They just take naps and like
cats
kill birds
make
and stuff.
do tasks to entertain them.
Make your house smell like shit.
Well, hey,
they make your house smell like shit. That's what they do.
Well, that's because you're too dumb to teach them how to take a dump in the toilet.
I don't have cats. I don't like cats.
Well, you know what? If your house smells like shit, it must be you must better investigate your own.
Not my house. I don't have cats. I'm just saying. Anytime you go over to a cat
don't even have a house right now.
It smells like shit. It's just Mr. Peepers. Mr. Peepers is so cute. It's like, yeah, but there's cat shit on the couch.
Whoa, someone is on a real anti-cats.
Don't like it.
No. What about Katz's Deli? Are you anti that?
Nope. Love Katz's Deli. Love Katz's Deli.
What about Cats? You think you're eating pastrami, you might be eating poop strami. You never know.
Not a cat.
What about Cats the musical?
No, not into that. No.
So out of all the cats out there, you're into cats.
That's interesting. You guys didn't mention Sondheim dying.
Well, you know, we're not musical fans. I guess he's a brilliant. I guess he's.
I didn't mention him living either, so I mean, I guess I don't remember him ever mentioning me. I mean, turn around is fair play here. Come on, I mean.
Well, if I'm going to tie it together in terms of avant-garde composers, Milton, because Lavin Lucier died today. Milton Babbitt, his hero was, or he loved Stephen Sondheim, but Milton Babbitt wasn't good at writing musicals. He was good at writing really dry, serialist.
Yeah, that's I would never have thought that Milton Babbitt would have been a fan of.
He attempted to write a musical, and then it stunk. And he was like, "I guess I'm going back to."
I'm sorry, really dry. Milton Babbitt.
Milton Babbitt. Well, that's another conversation for another time. Yes.
I don't even know anything about Milton Berle except for I guess he was hung like a horse, but with a face like that, you better have been because otherwise.
Milton Berle apparently had such a huge dick that when people would come up to him and they'd be like, "Yeah, I want to show you I got a big dick too," or something like that. Oh, no. He would unzip and he would only show a little bit, and people would be like, "All right, that's all right. I believe."
Well,
apparently was huge.
Well, it's not the size; it's how much they're paying you. Nothing. I'm not. I gotta cancel myself at this point.
Another funny Milton Berle fact is that his grandson was Bobby Blotzer, from the drummer of Rat, and he's in the Round and Around video, I believe. Milton Berle, just because they had to make the video, and he out of nepotism, he helped his grandson out. Yes.
This is the Lydian spin, thinking in the pillows, talking about dead men's bongs. I'm canceling myself at this point over that. Between the frat boy death binge, Cat Hoops, and Milton Berle, I don't really think transgress any further.
No.
I'll just cut it off by saying this is the Lydian Spin with Tim Dahl, episode number 125, special guest, Eric Gardner. This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and special guest Eric Gardner, drummer extraordinaire with so many people. It's kind of ridiculous. We'll start back at we won't start with your 2-year-old drumming sessions yet, but Gnarls Barkley, Cypress Hill, Garbage. Those are the top ones I'd like to mention. Tom Morello, various projects, your own project, Hacker. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. You guys are really scraping the barrel for guests today, huh?
I've been trying to scrape you onto it for a while, actually.
Yeah, well, you're very modest, Eric. I'd like to let the listeners know about the first time you two met, and we were going backstage, and Lydia and I were a little tired. We didn't want the backstage to be loaded, but we let a few people in. Lydia let Jerry Stahl in. I let Eric Gardner in. Person at the door knocked and said, "Don Bowles wants to come in," and Lydia said, "Absolutely not." Hats off to Don. I love Don. Come on. So
that's your problem, not mine.
but Eric had gotten just off the road with Charlotte Gainsbourg, and Charlotte had to call in, or because I think was Beck producing her album.
Yes, he produced and wrote the tunes. Yes.
So he called in his little motivational Scientology group to kind of help her with her stage fright. And Lydia said, "Well, if she's so afraid to be on the stage, she shouldn't fucking be on it." That was your introduction. Right. I remember that.
And now we're best friends.
So you and Charlotte, or
no, me and you.
Well, you don't have to share every opinion I have to be a good friend with me or my musical taste, obviously, or even like my music, because let's face it, there's a lot of music I don't like. But you've done some incredible things. And well, right now, grief to the passing of the 300-pound Francis Bacon. I know, celebrity in its own right.
Oh yes, he is missed, and he was well loved.
For those who don't know what they were talking about, Eric and his partner had a pet pig named Francis Bacon. And whenever I would stay in LA with Eric, which is usually where I'm staying, there was this giant pig, a moody one, I should say. We had a strange love-hate relationship.
Yeah. Tim and Francis had a very complicated relationship.
Well, Tim is, an animal expert in many things.
This was a coiled tail in this case. And I always was blown away that pigs' dicks are coiled.
One day we're going to do a podcast on the pigs we have known, and I don't mean with the curly tail. Could be a series.
All right, so Eric, you just got off the road with Melissa Etheridge, and you had to do how many weeks?
Yeah, we did about 13 weeks in the middle of Delta variant heyday, and somehow we threaded the needle and made it through the whole thing. And
was that in the U.S.?
All U.S. Yeah, there was one Canada show.
How does it feel? I mean, other than financially more stable than most of the rest of us, to be somebody who is basically, on one side you could be considered a studio musician, on the other you're also an experimental. You doing your own stuff was very experimental. What's fascinating to me is that the ability, because, you know, a lot of musicians don't have that ability to go from what they intrinsically, you know, do to then actually doing something in the same field, even if it's not their thing, that helps to benefit the rest of what they do, even if it's financially. I mean, not everybody has that ability. So much respect for that.
Yeah, I guess I just never really knew what my thing was. I wanted to do all of it. I wanted to be the best classical musician and the best jazz guy. And like, I just, by the time I even thought that that was an option, it was too late. I was already kind of just jumping around and everything. And I like that. I like airdropping into these different universes and then disappearing. And
I can understand that because, you know, a lot of my musical projects, they're all very different from each other. So it is like dropping into another aspect of my own universe, but that is what keeps it interesting, is as opposed to, for instance, having the same band for 20 years and the same songs. I mean, that's tedious.
I mean, this is where I was impressed. I was like, I'd actually really struggle. I can do, as I was saying, I can do Ruins, prog rock, complicated memorization. How many songs did she want you to memorize that she could just call out at any given time?
I think the list is up at like 150 or a little more than that. Yeah.
And those songs are very
triple
similar.
Praise, Eric. Triple praise to you, my friend. I don't even memorize my own freaking lyrics. So what a job.
It's a huge challenge. That's definitely the biggest challenge of that. You know, every job has its own challenge, and I would say that's the one.
That's pretty freaking challenging. I like the quote that I read by you that said, you started playing drums very early because there was a drum set, but I'd play when I was sad, when I was happy, when I was mad, just play the drums. And that's what more people need to find, I think, for relief in their life, is something that they can just go to, whether it's music, whether it's boxing, whether it's riding a bike, whether it's chopping wood, that is kind of the go-to to relieve the stress of existential dilemma.
Yeah, absolutely. The irony is that the drums later would create their own existential problems.
Well, can you explain? How'd that happen? Well, you gotta carry them around unless you got a roadie. I guess you have a roadie with a lot of these bands, but what did you tell?
Oh, the existential
anxiety of being a drummer.
Well, I don't know. I just spent my whole life just wanting to be a drummer. One day I woke up, I'm like, oh shit, I'm a drummer. This is what I do. I gotta do this now. Yeah, you know, it's a weird life. It's a weird life that we've all
wouldn't want
chosen.
Wouldn't want it if it wasn't weird.
No.
Now, Eric turned down, but during this Willis Athers gig, he turned down the Morrisey gig, and which he's done before.
Even more respect.
Well, there was a bit of a scheduling conflict that made that decision for me. But yeah, I toured with him a few years ago, so it was.
How fun was that? Not.
Again, like, you know, that was the thing where I felt like an embedded journalist. I was just kind of dropped in to this world that had been functioning or not functioning for a long time, and I just pop in, and then I'm there for a while, and then
pop out.
You know, yeah.
With a pocket full of pennies or hundos.
Yeah, there you go. There you
pocket
go.
Full of hundos. Gotta respect. How fun was it to work with Garbage? You know, I have a big crush on Shirley Manson.
They're the best. Yeah, they're great. So relevant, and those guys love touring and each other, and it's just. And when I came into the mix, I know that they were really nervous about somebody new coming into their tightly bonded, curated group of people. Crew too, like everybody in their crew is super cool, and they're like really. I know they're protective of that, but they treated me like I was a band member when I was there, and it's just, it was great. And also those guys play everywhere, so I got to go to a lot of places that I had never been, in places I never thought I would get to see, and they work hard too. It's impressive.
What were you doing during the big lockdown, which we might face another one soon? So
yeah, I wasn't doing much of anything, cooking food, and I would say the first maybe 6 months, I was so happy to sit still and almost say you had permission to not
fret,
do anything. Yeah,
fret.
It was really, it was great. And then of course, we get restless and then things. One thing I did that I never wanted to do and I intentionally avoided my whole life is learning how to record drums. I never wanted to be an engineer, but I just got to the point where I was like, if I want to play music with people right now, this is how it's happening. And I did do that. So
your own
that
stuff.
was
were you working
my
on
own stuff, and just people would send me some tracks, and I could, for the first 6 months I had to say no, I can't, sorry, can't do that. And then I realized this might be a do or die situation,
a drum or don't situation.
Yeah, exactly. And then I also I make collage art as well as kind of my hobby. So that was about it. That was the extent.
Well, when it first started, the metaphor that I came up with, it reminded me of just being a teenager and waiting for something to happen. It's just like, all right, when is this?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, now we just don't know if it's ever going to end. I just got back too from 6 weeks in Europe, and every place I was going into with these either in the red zone or was now closing down more further. We just don't know what's going to happen. But you just came off a 13-week tour, so
yeah. I mean, it's a big deal to have finished a tour this year.
Eric was telling me that he was going to the Melissa Etheridge tour thinking, okay, this is going to last a week. I'm going to be sent home. And it's just kind of like, what's going on?
Everybody stayed healthy, which is amazing, in front of thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
You had a pretty funny, so just for the listener, not only does Eric do these tours, but living in LA, he does a lot of like variety shows. When I say variety shows, like you get hired for like a night and you're playing with multiple artists. You even did like at the Adam Sandler Christmas party where you played with all these one-hit wonders and all that stuff. But you told me this story that really, I told Simon the other day because it was pretty funny, where you had to play with Lemmy, and it was like something, and I want you to tell us this story because it's pretty funny, actually.
My one night stand with Lemmy. Let's hear it.
Well, I'm trying to remember what part.
Well, the thing about like he came with his tech guy, but they gave him a Fender Precision. He wanted his Rickenbacker. He had to break into the apartment, and then he wanted you to learn another song.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing from the time he walked in the venue was just classic. But he walked in and he wouldn't do anything until somebody went and got him a bottle of Jack Daniels. So got him the bottle, and then we go out to stage for sound check, and he saw that there was a P bass, and like a 1957 P bass. They got the best thing they could find for Lemmy. And he's like, I'm not playing that shit. He's like, I play Rickenbackers. He's telling them this now at soundcheck. So he sent his tech. I want to say, I'm trying to remember what he sent him his tech to go break into his apartment to get his Rickenbacker. That's what happened. Yeah, right. He had to break in. I think had to break in his window to get his Rickenbacker, which he did, and then came back. We rehearsed the song during sound check. Great. It was the song that everybody knew we were going to play. Everybody had prepared, learned the song.
Ace of Spades.
It wasn't Ace of Spades. I wish it was.
Ace of Spades, no?
No, not bad. Ace of Spades. No. It was something. It was a more obscure Motorhead song. And then right before we walk on stage to play the show, he tells everybody, he's like, I don't want to play that song. I changed my mind. And nobody knows the song that he wants to play. So we all gathered around someone's laptop with Lemmy, watching the video for the song that he wants to play, and nobody can hear what the chords are or anything. And it was, so wouldn't you know it, it was a shit show. I mean, it was like disaster. We go on stage, and I mean, it was horrible.
Oh God.
What did he say? Did he like blame you guys because it was horrible?
He didn't. outwardly blame us, but he may have had some opinions after the show privately. Wayne Kramer was playing guitar on that too, so it was just really funny. The whole thing.
Oh my gosh! Well, what could have been an amazing one night, one song wonder turned into a one song Jack Daniels blunder.
Yeah, you
pretty much.
You can't win them all.
Well, I think it would be probably pretty hard to win anything with Lemmy on board.
He made it challenging that night for sure.
So sometimes you're doing these pop stuff. I mean, you play like Matchbox 20. You play with all this shit that's on the radio. That's like as wide as you get on pop radio. You play with like a representation of like almost all of it. How often is there? You have ear monitors, or you have your monitors. You have backing tracks you're playing to, and the machine things just start going wrong with the backing tracks. And I mean, how often are you literally having to man the tiller when the infrastructure starts collapsing?
Not that often, but enough.
Enough to keep it challenging.
Yeah, I mean, there's just either I have a kill switch, which is usually a space bar, or I have to send this SOS signal to
the universal signal.
Yeah, and
fingers across the neck.
Yeah, and either you just keep going and fake it, or you got to stop the song and say, "Sorry, we're starting over." Whatever.
One time in New York, you were playing with Iggy Pop, and wasn't there like a meltdown that happened on stage?
Oh
there
yes.
Like, dude, down. Oh, what?
Oh,
Iggy
yes.
had a meltdown. First of all, what year, Eric? What year?
I've been publicly shamed by the best. I don't know. It was probably
like 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, it was a while. I know that it was a while ago, just because it was before cell phones and YouTube were a big part of this stuff.
What happened?
But let's see. I'll try to give you the quick version. But so I went to New York, play a show with Iggy, and it was kind of a super group of famous rock stars and a guy named Eric Gardner. Tom Morello was there. Wayne Kramer was playing guitar from the MC5, who is my oldest musical boss, friend, collaborator in LA. Like,
we've had him on the show. He's amazing. We've had him on the show. It's a great guy.
So yeah, he was there. Don was playing bass.
Was this just a one-nighter?
One-nighter was a benefit. So, we had one quick rehearsal the day before. It was just basically a run through. We just did, it was a pretty short set. So we all meet up, we do the rehearsal. It's fine, but it's clear that it's going to be scruffy. It's going to, it's not going to be super tight. Fine. It is what it is. So the first song of the set, I think, was maybe 5'1" or something. It was something that starts with the bass. And so we all walk out on stage.
And let's face it, I have to interject. Not one of his best fucking songs, because as far as I'm concerned, the Stooges albums, a couple of songs after that, cut it off. Go ahead.
No one's gonna tell him that they don't want to play that song.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we all go out, take the stage to mount our instruments, and before anybody said, he runs out. He's on fire. He's ready to go. Shirts off. He's yelling. He's like, "Go, go! Start the song! Start the song!" He's yelling. And everybody's just like, "Oh shit, not ready to go!" And so yeah. So Don was supposed to start this song, and so we're just kind of waiting for him to start. And he's looking at me,
brain freeze.
Like he brain freeze. I'm like, kind of giving him the sign, like, you just start playing. And Iggy's freaking out. Go start the song. So I start playing the song. I just start playing the groove of the song because something needs to happen. I go into crisis mode. I start playing the song. And we're already starting with a mess. We have to put things back together before we can even get into the first song. So whatever, we get through it. Not great, but song ends. And then after the song, Iggy gets up on the drum riser.
Oh no.
With his face inches away from me. And so the next song we're going to play is Sweet 16. And he gets up in my face and he goes, Sweet 16. Play it right, cocksucker.
Like you were responsible.
Yes, that was all me.
And that was a good song, Sweet 16. Hey, that is good.
Great song. I don't remember anything after that moment.
Oh,
we got through it, and then we get off stage, and Billy Bragg was there. He was doing a set as well, and he says to me, he says, "Hey, great show, cocksucker."
Nice.
Oh,
but, yeah, it was a real moment. Just,
I mean, but that was like kind of early in your career in terms of the bigger shows. So that,
I mean,
so you
that's
don't
just
let that just.
Gotta be horrifying. I mean, you're not responsible for the song not starting. You jump in to try to sort shit out, and you're the cocksucker.
Yeah, you just always. Yeah.
Gotta blame somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And he, I don't think he really cared, but that was part of the deal. And
well, I mean, obviously he didn't care if he's got a fucking makeshift band, even if they're great musicians assorted, to have a run through at sound check. He expects everybody to know the songs, and he's going to go all over the place. And by the way, he should have not been on fucking stage that night anyway, probably. That's my opinion. I'm just saying. I Am the Passenger. I love that song.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that period, but anyway, it is what it is. Who was the most fun?
The most fun to tour with?
Besides me, and you haven't played with me yet, but
yeah.
Think about that anyway. I'm a barrel.
I feel like we did. I might have played some percussion or something on something. You were doing some jazz stuff, maybe, that Billy Moeller was recording.
Black?
Yeah. Sylvia. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so
but
I digress.
Were we in the same room?
No, not even the same state.
Not even the same thought pattern, probably.
No.
I feel we're getting closer though by the sentence.
Yes, exactly. I would say the Gnarls Barkley tour was all fun. It was the moment that thing turned not fun. It was like nobody had any interest in doing it. So that was the priority. It was just having fun.
What was his big hit again? Remind me. He had that big hit.
The Gnarls Barkley hit was crazy.
Yeah, and that was a great song.
Yeah.
I mean, that hit. People always ask me this, but I never have any answer because, I'm a conceptualist, so the collaborators have to fit the concept. But is there anyone, as you sit there, El Sereno, that you go, man, I really would like to get a gig with them? You got any like bucket babes or bastards?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, David Bowie.
Ghost, maybe. What period Bowie, Eric? See, now we're getting closer by the minute.
Yeah, any period, really. I mean, I was a fan of stuff that a lot of people
like what?
Didn't. I mean, I love the Earthling album that came out in, I guess that would have been 95-ish or something. It was kind of Outsiders. Yeah,
people don't know that album Outside. Right. It was kind of slipped through, and it was very much based on a British crime writer, Derek Raymond's writings. I think I love Diamond Dogs. I love The Man Who Sold the World.
What's it called? Earthlings? Is that the one you're saying? Was that did Trent Reznor produce that one, or was that what?
I don't know. I don't think so. Reeves Gabrels was in the band.
Yeah,
Zach Alford.
Yep.
I've always loved Aladdin Sane and Mike Garson, the piano playing on that.
Yeah, Garson.
You know what album, and I promoted this a few times, that, I had it as a teenager, but I came back to it recently, and I just think it's so fantastic. And you see how much Bowie took from it is Slaughter on 10th Avenue by Mick Ronson. It's
right, okay.
And if you don't remember it, you should, it's all up on YouTube, of course. Go back and check that out, because it's very dark, weird cabaret, Aladdin Sane rock. It's just
with all that Mick Ronson stuff, and I just revisited the second Jabriath album. I'm like, this is like total David Bowie, and all that Philadelphia, because that was all produced in Philadelphia. All those Philadelphia, the Funk Brothers, just that whole soul production. Going back to Gnarls Barkley, were you in the band when he got canceled, or he got fired from The Voice? He tweeted when he was like fucked up one night, and That was that. I used.
Yeah, that was
a tough one.
That was after that. Yeah,
his commentary on Bill Cosby, which didn't sit well with the moms that let their kids watch The Voice every night. So NBC fired him immediately. CeeLo Green, does he live in LA or does he live in Atlanta?
I don't know where he is now. He was in Atlanta at the time that I was playing with them.
I mean, he wrote a lot of the chorus hooks for Outkast too, right? I mean, he's kind of like
the Goody Mob.
Goody Mob, right?
Where he came from. Yeah.
Eric, do you have an agent that gets you these gigs, or do people just come word of mouth, or both?
No, I have no agent, and yeah.
So it's basically just word of mouth.
It's word of mouth, and I'm really not great at the self-promotion thing. This is the first podcast I've done in my life, and I'm glad to be here. I'm just not good at that stuff, and it makes me uncomfortable. But yeah, that's
you don't mind banging the skins in front of thousands of people, but talking down a can into the void and nobody can see you is scary.
It's scary. I have offstage fright. I'm fine. Once I get on stage, it's all good.
I like
going back to Francis Bacon, who passed away again, the pet pig, because of Eric's connection with Gnarls Barkley, which Danger Mouse, the other guy, made a album book with David Lynch. And then David Lynch had this concept of taking a photograph of someone with a pig. What's his name? Danger Mouse is like, well, this drummer I work with has got a pet pig. And then David Lynch came over, and Francis Bacon was actually part of this big book.
Francis Bacon is a David Lynch star.
He is, yes. We're actually
yes.
We're still trying to get a copy of that photo, but
good luck. I hear you.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
We had to bring Francis to him. It was
that seems more.
Yeah, that's the real story.
How the hell did you cart Francis Bacon to David Lynch?
When David Lynch calls, you do it. You got to do to get the pig in the car.
You just took that long, dark highway to David Lynch.
Exactly. It was actually. I think it was on Mulholland Drive. Ironically.
Terrifying.
So what about your experience with the Jackass dudes? Didn't you weren't you recording some songs for their movie, or is that connected with Johnny Knoxville with the Dukes of Hazzard movie or something like that? You also do studio stuff for movies, is what I'm getting at.
I'm on a few soundtracks. That I think that was a one day session. I want to say maybe Karen O was.
Jackass.
Well, it was filming the song for the end credits or something. But there's really not much of a story to it. But
I wouldn't mind knocking around with Johnny Knoxville. I can tell you that. I like to grapple.
Well, he'll go.
No,
man. I think he'll go.
Hey, if you're now a dating app, Eric Gardner dating app for my fetishes for boys that like to get beaten. I didn't say anything.
Hey, let's talk. I need a ticket out of here. This sounds good.
I need a ticket to Johnny Knoxville because I don't think he's going to come to me. Well, he might come about me. I'm not saying that. I don't know anything.
So, well, the connective tissue here, there's a few of them already. Wayne Kramer, but is Bibi Hansen, who's Beck's mom, and you've worked with Beck. I don't know if you worked in his bands, but you worked on productions of him, or you've had to work with him throughout the years.
Just through the Charlotte.
Charlotte Gainsbourg.
Oh, okay.
Charlotte Gainsbourg, yeah.
Right, and I've been working with Bibi Hansen for years, and actually invited her to do her first spoken word performance under the auspice of Ron Athey suggesting her. So I mean, we talk a lot about this connection here on the Lydian Spin because it's a giant cocoon actually at this point.
I love it. I just love the connecting the dots with people. Absolutely. It's so cool. It's
so important right now because not only about the lockdown, not only about the COVID, but just the fact that we used to have some magazines or newspapers that we go to actually find out what's going on. And now we have to, with the people we know are still doing things. I mean, and mainly the podcast is not like we're guests showing, all comers, please make suggestions. But basically it was started because relentless, ruthless creatives no matter how successful or I think anybody that creates is successful, need a platform in which to just, talk to each other and put it out there for people who may or may not know what people, and we've had you're going to be our 125th episode. I think
wow, that's impressive. Yeah. I remember when Tim was talking about this starting up. That's great. But yeah, I agree. I think it's really important. I was saying last night, being out, I went and saw Tim play his show, which was amazing, by the way.
Photo was great.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I was saying,
Eric took it. Eric took that photograph.
That was a great shot.
Thanks. I worked hard on that one. But I was saying, I feel like I forget how to talk to people, and it's not good. It's not a good thing.
Reminded every week how to talk to people. Yeah, it's not every night.
Yeah,
Tim has no problem talking either way.
No, I know.
I talk.
No awkward.
I've always talked too much. Teachers used to pull my desk next to theirs to isolate me from the symmetrical rows to humiliate me. Never worked, of course.
A second, you know what? Let me just cut in. Cut in for a minute.
I talk too much.
You know what really scares people about me besides a lot of things, Eric?
What's that?
When I go mute.
Yeah.
Ask Tim about that. If I get real quiet.
Well, that when you were out of town, but your partner Estrell saw our last show at the Echo right before the shutdown, and this crazy one fan somehow managed to get her way backstage, and Lydia wasn't a big fan of hers and started going quiet. I knew something was brewing. I was like, you might want to leave. I'm giving you a warning. You might want to leave. It didn't end up so well for her. So did you also did you play with Celine Dion, or you did like a Target special with her? Well, I mean, it's pretty hilarious.
He's really pulling your panties out from behind your ears.
That fucking thing has followed me for my whole life. No, I sidelined. I air drummed to one song on a Target Christmas special, and it was in the 90s. and so somehow my hometown got wind of it, and then the next thing I know is that the headline in the local paper is Celine Dion's drummer from Danvers, Massachusetts, where I'm from, and it keeps popping up, and it's just not true.
As if you're promoting it and they don't have the facts right.
That's really funny. No, I never played with her, but we were on a stage together.
It makes me want to air drum to one of your actual performances, Eric.
You should do that.
Well, I have a very good sense of rhythm.
Yes, I've seen your show.
And non-rhythm as well. I'm a specialist in non-rhythm. Thank you, Tim, for keeping my ass where it belongs.
Oh, can you you told me the story once on that Morrisey tour. Well, you're doing this tour, and I mean, for those people that don't know you, there's a pretty serious rule book with Morrisey, and there's a lot to deal with when you're touring with Morrisey. He's got all these rules, and
you can't smell like me, you can't be near me.
Well, there's not that, but also like you're kind of like on call, like a doctor. Like if he wants to drink with you, you kind of have to drop everything and drink with him.
Yeah. There's a lot of hanging out, extracurricular hanging.
Are there mandates that you hang out with them?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's mandated, but yeah, it's kind of
part of the job.
Like, yeah, if your boss wants to go out for a drink, you're going out for a drink.
I love to hang out with my fellow musicians, but that's because we're a tight clique. They're not higher.
Well, we also like to hang out with you. I don't feel forced. I want to do that.
Sometimes I have to force you to go. Now go ahead, Eric.
But you don't. But unlike Morrisey, you don't pick my wardrobe. Well, you do a little bit, but you don't dress me. You don't cut my. Well, you do cut my hair sometimes. Actually, I could be wrong.
Lydia, maybe you should pick his wardrobe and cut his hair.
Trust me on that.
Something to think about.
Roar.
Trust me.
Roar. So the last show,
all black and fluffed up.
You're telling me you're in Manchester, and it's all in there. His hometown. It's always kind of one earring, mullet, soccer blokes like Morrisey, like crying for him. But backstage, he had his whole family, and didn't he insist that everyone, including the crew, this giant dinner, toast him?
Right. Yeah. Right. So, yeah. So, we all went to a bar after the show, and was kind of the end of tour party, and yeah, afterwards he said, all right, now let's go around the room, and everybody, it was either tell a story about me, tell me what, kind of, it was
that is so grotesque,
super awkward. However, but check this out, he went around to everybody, but he didn't ask me to do it. Whoa. And at that moment, I knew I was a goner. I did. I knew it was like something's up.
Change your name
I knew
to
something was up,
Gardner?
and yeah, Eric Gardner. That's right. And I got home. I flew home the next day, and in the morning of the day I got home, I got a call from the tour manager and said, thank you for your service. We're gonna have somebody else come play drums, and I just knew it. But that was.
And I guess you said
that was that moment.
You for your the paycheck. Now.
Yeah,
but then he asked you back ultimately. Yeah. He asked you back ultimately.
He wanted you to toast him.
Exactly. Oh, I forgot.
Toast.
I try to prevent Tim from telling stories about me. No, he's always telling stories. He tells stories about himself. He's got no room in his mouth for me.
Oh,
I got plenty of room in my mouth for him, but he ain't going there tonight. I'm telling you that.
Oh, jeez. Well, I can't take this.
I ain't no Morrisey. Let's put it that way.
So, what? Didn't one of the members of Morrisey punch Morrisey in the face? Or maybe you don't want to talk about that.
I mean, now while I was there, there's a lot of stories that. A lot of stories.
All right. Well, you can get as trashy or not as you want. We understand. There's,
So Lydia,
Tim,
Danvers is Massachusetts, where Eric's from. Danvers is actually the old Salem. That's part of the greater Salem, and that's where all the magic stuff was going on. It was the rural, the farm areas of Salem. Like, what are those old ladies? What's all this creepy magic that's going out there? Because Lydia's very witchy, and so you guys might have there's another connective tissue. Like, he's from the old Salem witch area. And
there you go. The old,
new Salem.
The real Salem.
The real Salem, exactly.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers, Eric.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's another connection. I mean, and also you, why would I suddenly I was you wailing, I meant hailing from the grand state of Massachusetts. So many weirdos. I wanted to go back to find out a little bit about Cypress Hill. How was that? What was that?
That was cool. I didn't, they weren't in the studio when I recorded with them, which
always weird
is always
that's
weird.
A thing.
What year was that, Eric?
But
do you remember?
10 years ago?
Probably something like that.
Insane in the Membrane era?
No, this was after I think the album was called Rise Up. Or at least one of the tracks was. But anyway, yeah, so they weren't there, and Tom Morello was producing.
Amazing. I mean, that's
at least those tracks. Yeah. So they weren't there, but they did ask me to be in the video for one of the songs, which was pretty funny. And I have never been so high, and I didn't take a single hit of pot. The room was so smoked out. It was insane. Yeah.
You were insane in the Membrane.
They're the real deal. They're insane weed heads.
Somebody once told me they thought that they had sampled me. I'd never heard it. I'm like, I don't know why more hip hop or rap bands don't sample me. Why is it only a Nicholas jar? I mean, that makes no sense. I don't understand why they don't go in and get one of those 1 million great one-liners I have and just pop it in. Just putting it out there.
It's not too late.
Trust, not too late.
Yeah.
So Eric, going back to your own musical inclinations, and any dreams, hopes, fears for that in the future, like something going on tomorrow?
Yeah, Tim and I we're gonna have our first musical reunion for many years.
I don't know what the last one was. We were in a high school band together, but then we were in college.
I did not know this. Wait, say that again, Tim Dahl. Wait, you were in a high school band together?
Well, not like a it was kind of one of these things. I was living in Massachusetts, and he was down the road, and it was like okay, there's our age, and like who's like the best guys around, and we kind of
not only
met
does
each
Kimball
other.
know everything about everything, he knows everyone who's everyone.
No.
And a lot of people that aren't anyone. This guy is a wealth of information. I don't get it.
Yeah, anyhow. So, but then we went to college, different colleges, and then we did some like jazz gigs in the summer together. But I think since then, I don't know if we've played together. So tomorrow we're gonna do some duos.
Dualettes.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this is going. I mean, for my next, if it's good material, and if Eric's okay with this, for my next quote unquote solo album, I was thinking about just a album of all these different drummers who've been in my life that are important to me as musicians, as people. And I was like, and bass and drums that's a thing. Just do duos, and just Weasel will be on it. Just a lot of people I love that I've worked with.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I love dualettes.
We'll just record and see if there's anything there, and maybe we'll get a track out of it. Maybe we'll get a track.
We know that having a band, especially now, I mean, it's so difficult if you have an experimental independent band to do anything right now. I mean, everything is difficult. That's why congratulations again on just the ability to have the luxury of people wanting you to drum, even if the music is not your music, your specific thing. But any concepts for your own next musical thing that's your own, or you just flowing with the flow?
Yeah, I'm just flowing, but for me, it's just important for me to have that balance. I do love what I do, and like I said, I like just bouncing around
all different kinds,
these crazy different worlds, but I also do need that pure creative unaffiliated thing that whether there's one person hears it or no people here, doesn't matter. So and I have that right now with different people that I play with, and I just got to keep that in balance, and I think as long as that happens, then
yeah.
Do you play Bootsy Collins once at some with Slash and Bootsy Collins at some like event, some like fundraiser, or what was that about?
No, I was just hired to kind of put the night together. Bootsy was there and I didn't play, but I just kind of brought everybody together.
How anti-Morrisey would that have been? That would have been a great fucking mouth cleanser, brain washer. Bootsy can clean my mouth or wash my brain. We'd love to have him on the show.
Yes.
I doubt he's going to be calling, but that's all right. He might be Collins, but he won't be calling. Anyway, Eric Gardner, drummer extraordinaire in so many different kinds of projects, kind of an elastic man in that dimension, who can go from Cypress Hill, Gnarls Barkley to Melissa Etheridge, and with a bit of Morrisey in between, and do his own things. And just a real pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. It was
I broke your cherry.
It was a pleasure. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're a little too old for me to break your real cherry. That's not what. Oh my God.
Well, I don't know if it's behind's been broken yet.
Oh well.
I've been saving that for
turn around is fair play. All I know.
Special day. No, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That's great. I think
that's really great. But we are Simon. You brought in some good material. Hopefully, you don't edit yourself out. I mean,
oh no, I'm not. But I want to read this thing to you about Milton Berle's dick because it's funny. This guy Alan Zweibel, who worked on Saturday Night Live, he had written about a bunch of jokes about Milton Berle's dick while he was alive. Now, fast forward a few years, and I'm in Milton Berle's dressing room at Saturday Night Live. He's sitting on a couch behind a coffee table. He's wearing a very short kind of bathrobe, the kind that comes down to about mid-thigh. And somehow I just say to him, it's so weird that I'm here talking to you because for years I was writing jokes about your dick. I said, I wrote all these jokes about how about your cock, and now I'm talking to you, and I feel like there's some violation or something here. He says to me, you mean you never saw it? I said, no, I don't believe I did. Then he said, well, would you like to? And before I had a chance to say, not really, or can I think about it or whatever, he parts his bathrobe and he just takes out this anaconda. He lays it on the table, and I'm looking into this thing, right? And I'm looking into the head of Milton Berle's dick. It was enormous. It was like a pepperoni. And he goes, "What do you think? What do you think of the boy?" And I'm looking right at it, and I go, "Oh, it's really nice."
He had the face of a horse and the cock of a horse. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense. He did look like a horse.
So he must have been a horse.
Yeah, a horse was a horse, of course.
Oh my God.
I don't go the route of the Mr. Eds if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
Those things.
Face of a horse, cock of a horse. He liked horse. I think his voice was hoarse from all those cigars.
I wonder if he could do himself if something was that big, but he probably, if I recall correctly, he didn't have very good posture. Maybe it was from bending over or something.
Simon, there's a lot of material
We're
here.
getting blue. We're going blue on this one.
Well, I think we can put this at the end of the podcast.